Alright, so we have worked with dates quite a bit in the previous lesson, and now we'll continue. Let's start writing testing scenario for the function tomorrow. To test this function, we're going to prepare two pieces of data. In particular, we need current date as well as date of tomorrow, so I'm going to create two date objects. And again, I'm picking dates randomly, but it's important that date of tomorrow should be actually the next day in relation to the first date. And down here we're going to write an assertion and check that function tomorrow is going to return the date stored inside of tomorrow constant. Actually, we can't have same names for variables and functions, so I'm going to rename tomorrow and tomorrow date and import function tomorrow from the time module. So to be able to test function tomorrow, which also depends on the current date, we'll have to fake current date, just like we have done in the previous lesson by using setSystemTime call. We're gonna use the same call in here and pass date object to set this date as current one. If the current date is stored inside date constant, we're gonna get this test passing. Let's run only this one test by using modifier only, and there we go, it is passing. But of course, if we'll try to call tomorrow without mocking the current date, we're going to get a different date, which is a real tomorrow date. But we cannot rely on real dates in our tests, because then our tests will depend on dates, which is not good. Now let's repeat the same process a couple more times. I'm going to rename date on date A and tomorrow on tomorrow A. And then let's duplicate these two lines 2 times. Here we'll have date B as well as tomorrow B. And finally, in the third case, we're gonna have date C as well as tomorrow C. And then let's appropriately change dates. Dates for date B and date C constants can be picked randomly, but dates stored inside tomorrow B and tomorrow C should be tomorrow dates, assuming that the current date will be date B or date C respectively. So we'll just use same lines 3 times to check each of these dates. In the first case, we're checking date A. We are setting the system time to be equal to date A, and then we're testing that function tomorrow is going to return tomorrow date stored inside tomorrow A constant. And same goes with all other dates. In the second case, we're checking date B. So before we are setting the current time to be equal to date B, and then checking if tomorrow function is going to return date stored inside tomorrow B constant. And finally, in the third case, we're doing exactly the same for date C. And of course, as was mentioned in previous lesson, anytime we're mocking current date, it's a good idea to reset current date at the end of the test, which we can do by calling useRealTimers in here. So let's just use our statement to simulate delay that we have written in the previous lesson. Let's make this function asynchronous and use promise in here to defer function execution by 1 second. And regardless of how long we will wait, since setting current date and checking function tomorrow, the test will always be passing because it doesn't depend on the current date, since we have mocked it and manually specified what current date should be equal to. And with that, we're finishing with test implementation for the function tomorrow. Let's remove only modifier and check execution of all tests in the project. They are all passing. Link to the source code of this lesson will be in the video description.